Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 7th of January 2022. So let us quickly see the topics that are important for the day. We will understand these topics one by one. They are very important for the exam. So the first topic is the politics of minimum support price. So we will understand what is the politics all about related to minimum support price and other freebies. Then the next topic is about extinguishing the tobacco industry's main narrative. Okay, so here we are going to understand about what is the narrative of the tobacco industry and like what is the counter narrative related to this. Okay, then we will understand about the use of drones more effectively, use drones more effectively. It was said by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Okay, so we will understand about this topic as well. And the next topic is seasonal fluctuation in darters movements being monitored. Okay, so we will understand how the darter, so darter is a species, how this darter moves seasonally from one place to another and how the monitoring is being done. Okay, and at last we are going to understand about Russia-led troops deployed in Kazakhstan. Okay, so Kazakhstan is a Central Asian country. And in this country there has been a recent turmoil and there has been huge number of people who were protesting against the move of a government. Okay, so the government has increased the prices of petroleum products including the LPG, and people have come in mass numbers, okay, in the roads protesting the government, and they have also flooded towards the government building. So Kazakhstan has approached the Collective Security Treaty Organization. This is an organization that is led by Russia. Okay, so that organization has deployed its peacekeeping troops in Kazakhstan. So we will understand that thing in detail. Let us quickly move to the first topic. This is about the politics of minimum support price. Okay, so let us understand what is the politics all about and facilitating a bargain between wealth accumulators and welfare seekers seems to have become a key function of politics. Okay, so this topic is important under Indian polity and governance section. And if we talk about the how the article is written, it was written in this format. Okay, so they have written the context, they have written a new constituency, a conflict arises and jobless growth is accepted, welfarism, redistribution and more generosity now. So what has happened, that the election season is around in 5 states including Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Manipur, Goa and Punjab. Okay, so in these states election is around the corner. So now we have seen the tendency of political parties to offer freebies to people, to give promises that if we are voted into power we are going to give you these things or that thing. Okay, so they are talking about we are going to subsidize the prices of this thing, we are going to give free electricity, we are going to give you if people are not employed, then we will give some unemployment money. So that is similar to universal basic income. So let us understand how this particular thing has evolved over the years. Okay, so if we talk about in 1990s, okay, means for example 30 years before now. So in 1990s there used to be a commonly accepted term which is known as there is no free lunch. Okay, so this was the thing that that was a mouthpiece among the politicians as well as among the corporates. So they used to say there is no free lunch. But now that narrative seems to be changing. How the narrative is changing? Because now the government itself is giving free freebies to the citizens. How they are giving the freebies? They are giving the freebies in terms of free electricity, in terms of free transportation for the citizens, in terms of the government service being delivered at home. Okay, So now the government has become more of a service oriented thing. Means like earlier also it was service oriented, but now government is accepting that responsibility that they are there to serve the people. All right. So the narrative has changed. Now the government is moving forward to look for the welfare of the of the society at large. Okay. So we have seen in the past elections that like people have given this narrative that like that the thing is job creators must also be respected. Means like people who are creating job, they should be respected, because like they are giving jobs to huge number of people, and the job seekers are also getting benefit out of it. So on one side job creators are respected by the government, and at the same time job seekers are provided enough opportunity. So in this thing, what has happened that like there are multiple parties here, like there are multiple parties who are competitive, who are competing with one another to offer freebies. Okay, how they are competing? If one party says like we will give free electricity, other party will say that like we are going to give this much money every day to the adult women. I mean not every day, means like every month, to adult women of the society, okay, for the welfare of the women's at large. And at the same time other party will come into place, and they will say like if youths are not employed, then like employable people will be given, let's consider 5,000 a month, okay, by the government until they are employed. So now the competition seems to be giving welfare to the people, okay, giving welfare services to the people. So like this article talks about like how this thing has changed over the years. Means like earlier government was more of a controlling nature. Government was controlling various activities of the of the society. They have been controlling, okay, they are still controlling, but the thing is the perception about the people have changed. Now they have started accepting the responsibilities towards the society more, and they are giving welfare services to the people. Okay, so here now in this particular thing that a particular section of the society feels that they are being neglected. It is the middle class of the society. How? Because like these small freebies will not be as beneficial to the middle class who are already well off to do for themselves, right? I'm not talking about the highest section of the society, and I'm not talking about the grassroots level of the society. I'm talking about the middle section. So middle sections, I mean like so they are not properly benefited by these marginal or like the marginal welfare schemes, where like they are the government is focusing more on the needs of on the basic needs of the people, not of the the like other needs. I mean like not of the secondary needs of the people. So this is the thing. So in this article they say that like politics seems to be less about aspiration and more about desperation. Okay, politics seems to be less about aspiration and more about desperation. Means like they are trying to serve the desperate people, not the people who are aspiring for things. Okay, so the divergence between the principles of market economy and imperatives of a democratic society is the core dilemma of liberalism. Okay, so here they are saying the mismanagement and the incompetence of individual leaders may aggravate it, but the fundamental puzzle is the friction between the dictates of democratic politics and market driven development. Okay, so there is a friction between friction between the dictates of a democratic politics, okay, so and the market driven economics. Now let us understand about the conflict, where the conflict arises. Okay, so the thing is, the more than the question of inequality, the conflict between the political and economic order arises out of the shrinking ability of the latter to fulfill the basic aspirations of the masses through market mechanism. Okay, so economic order seems to be not functioning as as good as can be expected by the youths of the society. So the interest of the consumer and the investor conflicts with those of the citizen and labor. Okay, so this is the thing. A politician facing the electorate has to create and protect jobs and build public amenities, incentives for job creation. Okay, so here now they are talking about the government should move towards more job creation opportunities, and at the same time here the author is saying that jobless growth is being accepted as a norm now, because the government has not done much over the years in the areas where job needs to be created. So here jobless growth is accepted. Okay, so this has become a composition of the economy, that majority of the people are jobless, and so jobless growth is accepted. As the composition of the economy shifts in favor of activities that require little labor, the same amount of growth creates fewer jobs. More than a decade ago, jobless growth had become a talking point in Indian political debates. Okay, so more than 10 years ago, people used to talk about jobless growth, but now that thing is also not being talked about. Why it is not being talked about? Because today the scenario is that this particular jobless growth has not been resolved. Okay, but still people are not talking about, because they have accepted that growth is happening without creation of job. Okay, so the downward trickle has become feeble. Okay, so now the downward trickle has gone down. Okay, so now here under this particular section where they talk about welfarism and redistribution. Okay, so when we talk about welfarism and redistribution, here we are here we are understanding now the government is focusing more towards welfare measures. How welfare measures? One of the prime component for this is Mahatma Gandhi Employment Guarantee Act. This is an example. Okay, so this is an example of many welfare measures that are taken by the governments, like central government and state governments. So under this Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Mahatma Gandhi Employment Guarantee Act. Okay, under this Mahatma Gandhi MG Narega. Okay, Mahatma Gandhi Employment Guarantee Act. So under this, what happens? The government gives 100 days of job security to people, and people who seek job, so they are going to get job for 100 days in a year. Okay, and at the same time this particular thing, redistribution has become critical for the survival of democratic politics everywhere. Okay, United States and India. Redistribution means the government is taxing the well-off people, means higher higher end society. Corporates, companies, businesses, people who are earning much. So government is taxing them, and the taxed amount is being utilized by the government to redistribute it among the lower section of the society in terms of welfare activities that the government does. Okay, so this is how redistribution has become critical for the survival of democratic politics. Okay, a politician's success is figuring out the minimum price to be paid to garner the sufficient voter support. Okay, so now the politicians are paying the minimum price to get the support of the voters. How they are paying the minimum price? Means they are giving free electricity, they are giving free transportation and all. Now the government has become more generous. Okay, so this, if we talk about the welfare schemes have created significant development outcomes in the long and short term, as experienced from many Indian states over the decades show. Okay, so now here it seems the democracy, the elected leaders are trying to balance the bargain between the people who are paying the taxes and the people who are dependent on the society. People who are dependent on the society are those people who are either unemployed because sufficient number of jobs are not there, or they are, you know, not able to do jobs, not you know, unemployable people. Okay, so they are dependent people on this society. So it seems that the, you know, political leaders are trying to balance the aspiration of both. Okay, so this is the thing. With this, now let us move to the next topic. This was again under the editorial page of the Hindu newspaper today. Okay, so here this topic talks about extinguishing the tobacco industry's main narrative. Tax is not the core driver of the illicit trade in cigarettes as the industry would like people to believe. Okay, so what has happened here? The author talks about few important points. One of the point that author talks about the that like tobacco products are not, you know, healthy. I mean, like they you know, affect the health status of people. And here the author, you know, gives multiple, I mean, like, you know, multiple like data to point out towards that like because of tobacco products, thousands of Indian youths are dying every year. Okay, thousands of people are dying every year. The number has been mentioned over here. Tobacco product kills more than 13 lakh Indians every year. Okay, so this is one thing. So they are saying that tobacco is not a healthy thing, okay, for people and for the society. And at the same time, like, the government cannot stop the production, distribution and marketing of tobacco at all. Okay, it cannot directly stop, you know, put a hold on this particular sector, because the livelihood of, you know, lakhs of people are dependent on tobacco products. Okay, if you stop a particular, you know, particular industry or particular sector of the economy to work, in that case you will have to give alternate, like, you know, alternate livelihood options for them. But at this point of time, this is not, you know, something that can be done by the government. Means like they cannot outrightly stop the production, distribution and, you know, marketing of tobacco products. So this is the thing. Now if we know that tobacco products are not healthy, so it is important that we should reduce the consumption of tobacco products among the youths, among the people. How can we reduce the, you know, consumption? We can reduce the consumption by, you know, multiple measures. One of the measures is increasing the taxation. Okay, we can increase the taxation of tobacco products to make it very very costly for people to consume. So this will, you know, change the behavior of the people who are consuming, because, like, you know, because of high rate that they have to pay, they will start consuming it less. And at the same time, those people who are aspiring to become consumers of tobacco product, they will also, you know, feel not like to, you know, start consuming the tobacco products. So this is the thing. Okay, on one hand, people who are already consumers, they will feel it difficult to, you know, like consume more tobacco products. Like they will slowly and gradually reduce the consumption. And at the same time, on other hand, people who do not consume, like they will, you know, not inculcate the habit of consuming the tobacco products. Other thing is putting a limitation on the advertisements that are being done. Okay, so the government has already taken steps for it, and they have made it mandatory that certain portion of the advertisement on tobacco products, for example cigarettes, right, on the box of the cigarettes, you find that in the sufficient portion of the box, right, it is mentioned that tobacco kills. Okay, and then you are shown a picture also, right. So you know, that will create a effect on the people that consuming this thing may harm me as well. Okay, so this will also change the consumer behavior towards consumption of tobacco products. Here the author points out that tobacco industry, okay, they have put a narrative that if government increases the prices of tobacco products, it leads to, you know, like redistribution of tobacco products illegally. Okay, redistribution of tobacco products illegally and marketing illegally through, you know, informal channels. So the tobacco industry, okay, which is led by the ITC, Indian Tobacco Company. Okay, so this industry says that, like, you know, at least 25% of total tobacco consumption in India comes through illicit, trade. Illicit means like, through indirect networks, that do not pay taxes to the government. So if, tax rate is further hiked, then it will lead to, further increase in the illicit, trade in tobacco products. Trade in tobacco products which is not taxed. That goes under the carpet. It is the redistribution of tobacco happens through, informal networks, that are not part of the taxation structure. Okay. So this is the main narrative of the tobacco producers and tobacco companies, or like, tobacco industry's main narrative. But here the author has done some analysis, and in that analysis the author has, cited some of the research papers. It has cited some of the research works, and many research work points out that, like, the figure that is shown by the tobacco industry, that 25% of total consumption of tobacco products happens illegally in India. So the author says that this narrative is wrong, because like if we talk about international market, right, internationally, globally, okay, there are many countries around the world, and in those countries, tobacco products are consumed at a huge amount. But globally, like, it is accepted, and like, the data has come through multiple research that like around 11 point some percent, more than just 11% of the total tobacco redistribution happens illegally. Otherwise, all other tobacco products are taxed by the government. Means like around 88 or 89% of the cases, government taxes the tobacco products in the world. Means like the author is talking about globally. But when it comes to India, the author has shown data, and that data says that, like, only few percent, like in one of the study, it has been said like 1.1%, like, is done illegally in India, and like in other study it was said like, about 5% of, tobacco like redistribution and consumption happens illegally. Like, this is the thing. So the author is saying that the narrative of the tobacco industry of, 25% or higher illegal, redistribution and consumption of tobacco products is not right. Author is pointing out it is less than 5% in India, and like, government may and should increase the taxation of tobacco products. Here the author is saying that from last 4 years, since the GST has come into picture, okay, the government has not increased the taxation on tobacco products. Okay, so from last 4 years, like, from 2017 to 2021, government has not increased the taxation on tobacco products. Here the author is, putting forward the view that, like, government should increase the taxation or tax rate on tobacco products to, reduce the consumption among the youths. Okay, so this will help, the India to become a healthier nation, and at the same time the taxation amount will benefit the government. Okay, so this is the thing. But the tobacco farmers, tobacco producers, tobacco industry, they are against any hike in the taxation on tobacco products. Okay, so this is the crux of this article. So this article was there in the editorial page. Okay, so here I have talked about, two research papers, and two research papers I have highlighted those things. That the first study that was published in 2018, it was done through a survey of empty cigarette packs collected from retail outlets across different cities in India, and it estimates that illicit cigarettes constitute 2.7% of the market. And the second study that was published in 2020, like, it used tax gap analysis to estimate that the percentage of illicit cigarettes is 5.1% in 2009 to 10, okay, and 6.6% in 2016 and 17. Okay, so none of these figures are above 25% of the, total tobacco consumption in India. So there is a WHO protocol also on this. WHO stands for World Health Organization. Okay, So World Health Organization estimates, okay, the estimated percentage of illicit market for cigarettes in India is far lower than the most countries out there and well below the world average of 11.2%. Okay, and World Health Organization has a protocol for it, which is known as Protocol to Eliminate Illicit Trade in Tobacco Products. Okay, this is the name of the protocol. You can use this thing if a question comes in mains exam. Protocol to Eliminate Illicit Trade in Tobacco Products under the World Health Organization's Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. Okay, so World Health Organization has a framework convention on tobacco control. So this protocol you can remember, and this protocol actually is meant to reduce the reduce the illicit trade in tobacco products. Let us talk about the next article. This is a very important topic for science and technology under GS paper 3 of the mains exam and for GS paper 1 of the prelims exam, okay, for the general studies paper. So in this article we will talk about the use of the drone technology. Okay, so recently the Ministry of Civil Aviation has told different ministries and different government departments that they should start using drone technology more effectively, and this will improve the governance framework in India, okay, to a greater extent. So several ministries received suggestions for a range of uses from surveillance to disaster management. Okay, so what has happened? So the Ministry of Civil Aviation has said like we can use drone technology as a third eye. Okay, so we like both of our eyes are there, I mean like for maintaining the ground, for maintaining the seas, but like what about the airspace? Okay, so we can use the drone technology for monitoring, like it can become a third eye of surveillance for the government. So here the Ministry of Civil Aviation has suggested different ministries and different departments how drone technology can be used by them. Okay, so it says that like drones can become the third eye in the sky. Okay, ministries have been told to exploit drone applications in their domains. Okay, so Civil Aviation Ministry has told that like drone technology can be used in the defense sector for surveillance, combat and counter drone solutions. Okay, and if we talk about the Ministry of Home Affairs, it can use drone technology for VVIP security, crime control, raids and counter terror operations. If we talk about health and family welfare, then delivery of medicines, sample collection for tests, etc. can be used. Okay, so in case of health and family welfare, we can use drone technology for delivery of medicines, for sample collection of tests, etc. And if we talk about the agriculture sector, okay, so crop and soil health monitoring, anti-locust work, insurance, claim survey, etc. can be done. Okay, if we talk about Panchayati Raj, then land record and proper rights can be, land record and property rights can be ensured using drone technology. In case of environment, forest and climate change, anti-poaching operations, monitoring wildlife, etc. can be done using drone technology. Then in power sector, real-time surveillance of assets and transmission lines can be done. Okay. In case of road transportation, project monitoring and incident response can be done using drone technology. So these can be the applications of drone technology. And as you know, in prelims exam they ask questions, okay, that are application based. In the science and technology section, okay, they ask about like how a particular technology can be used, in what areas can be used. So this particular infographic gives you detail in what areas the drone technology can be used. Okay, so here the Ministry of Civil Aviation has told that drone technology can be, okay, made as drone can be made as a technology hub for India. I mean like India can become a global hub for drones under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Okay, under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, India can become a global hub for drones. Here we can, make the drones, here we can use the drones, and at the same time we can start exporting the drone technology to other countries. Okay. These suggestion includes, the deployment of drones to combat communication in remote areas, counter drone solutions, etc. So I have already discussed about, how the drone technology can be used in different areas, by different government departments. And government also says, the drone, the ministry also says that the drone technology can be used by the Ministry of Broadcasting, okay, for broadcasting purposes, to take pictures from remote parts, hilly areas. For that, earlier they used to, they needed helicopters, but now, the need of helicopters will not be there. They can use drone technology and they can utilize that particular facility. Okay. So here, throughout this article, it was said, what can be the applications of drone technology, and wherever any government department or any ministry need any, clarification, any input, any ideas related to drone technology, they can reach out to the Civil Aviation Ministry, means Ministry of Civil Aviation, for help. Okay. This is the thing. This is important article for science and technology. Let us talk about this article. Okay, this is a quick article. This can be helpful for the prelims exam. So in this article, we will talk about seasonal fluctuations in, darters movement being monitored. Okay, so movement of darter is being monitored, like seasonal movement. Okay, so ringing of birds done at Bharatpur sanctuary after 22 years. Okay, so many of the birds have visited, Bharatpur sanctuary after 22 years. So we will understand this thing. Okay, in a conservation effort to monitor seasonal fluctuation in birds movement, the ring of oriental darter has been taken up in the world famous Bharatpur bird sanctuary. Okay, the Bharatpur bird sanctuary is officially known as Keoladev National Park. Okay, after a gap of 22 years. So here, after reading this article, you should understand where is Keoladev National Park located. Okay, you should find out where is Keoladev National Park is located. Okay, and what species are conserved in the Keoladev National Park. Okay, so Keoladev National Park is an important, location for you to study about it. Okay, and this particular ringing of banding birds was conducted earlier by the Bombay Natural History Society. Okay, so it was stopped in the sanctuary after it was upgraded and named as the Keoladev National Park. Okay, earlier it was known as Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary, but later on it was officially renamed as Keoladev National Park. After then, this official ringing ceremony has been abandoned. Okay, in that particular state. So you can read this article. This is just a quick comment for prelims exam. So you can look forward where is Keoladev National Park located, and that location is important, and about conservation status. Now let us talk about the last topic. This is a very important topic. Here in this topic we will understand about Russia-led troops deployed in Kazakhstan. Okay, so Kazakhstan is one of the Central Asian countries. Okay, there are 5 countries in Central Asia: Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, then we have Tajikistan. Okay, we have another country. Okay, so now Kyrgyzstan. Okay, Kyrgyzstan is the another country. So we have 5 countries in the Central Asian region. They are known as Central Asian countries, and Kazakhstan is one of those 5 countries. Recently, the government in Kazakhstan has increased the oil prices, including the LPG. Okay, they have increased the prices of oils and LPG, but after then huge number of people have come into roads. They have started protesting against the government, and the protest has become so massive that people have started flooding, means like they have started encroaching upon the government buildings, to devastate the government buildings. So then the the prime minister or the head of the government of Kazakhstan have approached the organization which is known as Collective Security Treaty Organization. Okay, so he has approached the Collective Security Treaty Organization for help. Okay, and this Collective Security Treaty Organization is an organization of the former USSR countries, okay, of the countries that were formerly part of the USSR. So this is the thing. And just hours after this this particular help, hours after the help was sought by the Kazakhstan government, the the Collective Security Treaty Organization have deployed the security personnel in Kazakhstan. Okay, they have deployed huge number of peacekeeping security personnel over there, and Kazakhstan has told the Collective Security Treaty Organization, they have told CSTO that these people who are protesting, they many of these groups are trained from abroad, means these people are trained from abroad, and he has also said that these are terrorist organizations. Okay, so that's why the Collective Security Treaty Organization has deployed its troops over there to stabilize the situation in Kazakhstan and to bring the normalcy back, okay, in that country. So this is the thing with this. Now let us understand what is Collective Security Treaty Organization. Okay, let us understand what is Collective Security Treaty Organization. Here in this infographic, in this infographic they have mentioned the dates, on which date what has happened. Okay, so this is the thing. So things have happened from January 2nd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Okay, so multiple things has happened. So they have mentioned those incidents one by one. We don't need to go into those incidents. We need to understand about the Collective Security Treaty Organization. Okay, so what has happened? The Tokayo appeals for help to quell the protesters from the Moscow-led Collective Security Treaty Organization. So Russian paratroopers are dispatched over there. The Collective Security Treaty Organization is an intergovernmental military alliance in Eurasia that consists of select post-Soviet states. The treaty had its origins to the Soviet armed forces, which was gradually replaced by United Armed Forces of the Commonwealth of Independent States. Okay, so Collective Security Treaty Organization is an organization that consists of countries that were earlier members of the this particular thing. I mean Soviet, Soviet states. Okay, like USSR. So these are these consist of post-Soviet states. Okay, so this is the thing. Now we are going to understand about the structure of the Collective Security Treaty Organization. Okay, so what is the status? What is this particular thing? The Collective Security, it consists of the Collective Security Council. Okay, so the Collective Security Treaty Organization has a structure. It consists of Collective Security Council. Under this, they have the Council of Ministers of Foreign Affairs, then the Council of Ministers of Defense, then the Committee of Secretaries of the Security Council. They have a permanent council, they have a Secretary General, they have a Parliamentary Assembly. Okay, so on one side these are the things, on other sides these are the things. Okay, so under the Council of Ministers of Foreign Affairs, they have Afghanistan Working Group also. Okay, so this is the group that is looking forward for the development that is happening in Afghanistan. So this is the structure. I will share this particular PPT with you. In your free time you can see this PPT, you can learn more about it. Okay, this will help you to understand how the organizational structures are made in various in various multinational security groups or multinational groupings. Okay, so this is the thing. Thank you so much everyone for attending the session. I hope you have a good day ahead.